You keep buying a bunch of different presets from all these creators whose edits look insane. But every time you try one, it just looks like and nothing like their photos. If that's happening to you, you most likely don't know how to use presets to your advantage. So today I'm gonna show you how I work with my presets and any preset in general. So come with me. I'm working on a real wedding gallery at the moment, so I'm gonna walk you through the steps I take to achieve the look that I like. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to slap the preset on. Tweaking the exposure is the first thing I do. I like slightly overexposed, but as you can see here, I'm not gonna change the exposure because this is my look. So how exposed it is at the moment is how I like. After that, I will play with the tone curve. Because this lighting is perfect, I don't want any more crispier than that or any more softer than that. I'm just gonna leave the tone curve like this. I am going to change next the white balance. How I like to do it is I keep my eyes focused on the bride's white dress and I keep lifting the temperature up. I stop just before I see the bride's dress turning to yellow. It doesn't have to be just the bride's dress. It could be like any white point. So you just want to keep dragging it up until you realize that if you lift it more, the whites are going to change colors, and you definitely want to keep the whites white. Next, because this photo is very surrounded by greens, I don't want the skin color to be too green. So what I like to do is lift up the tint a little bit more towards magenta. So that's basically it. You see that before and after it changes quite a bit. So let's go to a white photo. The lighting is still a little bit harsh. And you see that this photo, it's very green. It lacks warmth and it lacks magenta. You can see by like the dress and the shadows and even like this tone of green, I think it's a little bit too much. Because this type of shot under the veil, it's very silhouetted, like the silhouette. I'm gonna bring the shadows down just a tad bit. And then now I'm gonna bring the magenta up. I'm gonna bring the whites down. I like to bring the whites down to soften the photo, and then you bring the blacks down in the tone curve. And I feel like it's lacking detail because it's a little bit overexposed in the camera settings. So I'm gonna bring the exposure down because I still wanna see the subject detail under the veil. And then now all it takes is changing the white balance, temperature. I'm gonna bring down because I feel like it's a little bit too yellow. All right, let's do it one more time. Chuck the preset on, lift the exposure a little, drag the tint up a little bit more just to balance out the skin color. So before I felt like their skin color was a little bit more leaning towards green, and now all I'm gonna do is bring the temperature up. Perfect. So here's the before and here's the after. And then now I want to bring you down to the bridal party portraits, because up at the hill we had more light. The sunlight was getting to the subject a little bit more than down the hill here with the bridal party. So you see that it's a lot more dull. This photo has a lot less colors and the sun isn't shaping our subject as much. So in this situation, again, I'm gonna add my preset and you see that it's gonna be very cool. I don't know why I always start with cropping the photo. I feel like it gives me peace of mind. In this case, I feel like the exposure is good, but the blacks are just lacking the little bit of crispiness. I'm gonna bring the tone curve down a little bit just to add the crispiness to their blacks. And then now, because this photo is too like green, I will again bring the magenta up to keep their skin colors balanced. And now the trick is in the temperature. So I will bring the temperature up quite a bit just to make this photo like warm and matching the look that we had at the top of the hill. I'm gonna be quite aggressive with the yellow here, and because the whites are still white, then I am able to tell that I'm not going overboard and my photos are not looking too warm. So let's see before and after. Wow. Also, don't have a black and white preset anymore, because a little trick that I've learned is to command quote, and I just duplicate the photo, and then I click V on my keyboard, and it just instantly turned my photo to black and white. Same thing, I think it's a little bit too crispy because the lighting conditions have changed. So I'm gonna bring the tone curve up so it's not too crispy. Like, I like crispy, but like when you see the blacks are being crushed, that's when I know I've reached the crispiness limits. And again, I'm gonna be very aggressive with the temperature, and I'm gonna turn it up. Now, for example, we have this lighting, which is a very soft backlit light. So I'm gonna use my soft preset. I'm gonna bring the exposure a little bit up. I'm gonna add more magenta just to make her skin color a little bit more balanced, and less green, so the green doesn't overpower. I'm gonna bring the temperature up, and voila. Now you see that the groom is facing the sun, so the lighting condition and the camera settings definitely change. So we're gonna edit this a little bit different. Soft preset, and in this case, what I think it needs is a little bit magenta, and then I think it's a little bit underexposed. So I'm gonna overexpose a little bit by 20. When you deal with the exposure, you can also keep an eye on the whites. So if you see like the white dress is a little bit too much and overexposed and a little bit too highlighted, then that's where you bring your exposure down a little bit. But in this case, the white veil is still okay, and his skin color is still very well exposed. So now I'm just going to bring the temperature up. The veil is still white, his skin color is a little yellow, and that's where I stop. Let's go with something that has no sunlight. For example, this one I used on camera flash at night. So I'm gonna edit this photo just to give you an idea of how different I will tweak the settings. First of all, I'm going to lift the exposure. I'm gonna lift the highlights a little bit just to make the subject pop a little bit more. I'm gonna bring the magenta up a tiny bit and the temperature up a little bit more too. Then to finish it off, I always like to add enhanced portrait. So what that means, let me zoom in on their face here, is that I widen their teeth, I add a little pop to their pupils and their iris, and a little smooth to their facial skin as well. But I want to show you guys, I bought another preset, and it was from this random girl I saw on Instagram, and her photos look amazing. That's her preset. It's a little bit too green for me. You see that she has already the tint and the temperature adjusted, which I don't change for my presets. I leave it open so you can do it yourself. I'm just gonna reset the tint and the temperature. That looks a lot better. I just think for this lighting conditions, I need more blacks, more crispiness in the tone curve. So you see the tone curve, the blacks is here. I like to keep the highlight down so the whites don't overpower the photo, and I like to bring the magenta up, and now the temperature, which for me is what changes everything. She has more gold, more yellow in her highlights, so you have to be really careful when you're adding more whites in the temperature, because you see if I keep adding, the dress doesn't really change colors, but you see that her skin color is very yellow. Now, if you want to make your editing process a lot quicker, a lot easier, and a lot more consistent, then you should definitely grab my new preset pack, the Editorial Collection preset pack. If you like this video, I highly recommend you watching this video here, which I walk you through my entire process from backing up a wedding, culling the sneak peeks, editing the sneak peeks, and finally delivering the sneak peeks. And I'll see you there.